What's up, everyone? It's Malik Hicks here. Just to let you know something, and it's that I have a video segment on the Ultimate Sports TV called Ultimate Questions that I'd really love you guys to enter your questions in. It's a Q&A segment, but how do you enter your questions in? Well, if you're on a computer, just go to the discussion section and just go type in your ultimate question and whatever you'd like to ask me. It could be an NFL-based question, it could be an NBA-based question, and I will answer your question in a video in the series The Ultimate Questions, the Q&A series, with other questions in that video. But how do you submit a question on a phone? A computer and a phone discussion section is very different. All you have to do is press the little arrow and go to the discussion section. All you got to do is enter your ultimate question. Hope you guys get to enter your ultimate questions. I'd love to answer them. Any NBA and NFL based questions.
You're back. Hey, we back. Welcome everyone to this episode on the Ultimate Sports TV. Guys, the Western Conference first round matchups are set. In this video, I'll give you my predictions and picks for each matchup in the first round. I did an Eastern Conference picks and predictions for the first round since those matchups are also set up. Go check out that video on the channel so you can get some of that good content in there and see what my predictions and picks were for those first round matchups. But before we get into these picks and predictions for the Western Conference first round, please don't do yourself a disservice and do yourself a favor. I want what's best for you. So subscribe to the Ultimate Sports TV because this is the hot spot. You get lots and lots that's hot from the Ultimate Sports TV spot. Then we're done with that. Like this video, share this video on your YouTube channel to anyone, anywhere. Then comment what you think about my picks and predictions down below and what your picks and predictions are for the Western Conference first round matchups. First, we're going to start with a very intriguing matchup and one that everyone is looking for, one that's going to be very competitive in my mind, and that's the Lakers versus the Trailblazers. I got the Lakers winning this series 4-2. I think the Trailblazers are going to give them a run. I don't think the Trailblazers are going to win like some people do and just going to scare us. They're very talented and they're a great offensive team, but they don't play defense. And the Lakers, yes, they were horrible the last 8 games in the NBA bubble, but you got to get used to this. Why are we acting like this is all new? LeBron does this every year, saving himself for the playoffs, and then he just turns on the Jets as soon as he gets some of that playoff action. Now that he has Anthony Davis on the scene, what is it going to look like? Also, the last time Anthony Davis was in the playoffs, he averaged 30 points per game, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. Just imagine what that's going to be like with LeBron, knowing that he didn't have LeBron on his side the last time. And with LeBron and AD surge just coming up, it's going to lift other players. It's going to give opportunities for a third player to score about 17 to 25 points every night. That's what I believe. I believe LeBron and AD surgence will lead to making teammates better. I believe that at least 1 or 2 players will score to 17 to 25 points while others be key contributors and really just put this whole thing together. But the Trailblazers do not play defense, and that's what I think holds them back. If they did play defense and they were one of the top defensive teams this season, maybe I'd pick them to win this series. But again, if you can't play defense and the Lakers are the #1 seed for a reason, I don't think you're going to win the series. I think they lose the series 4-2 to the Lakers. And yes, Damian Lillard has been great. Yes, this team has been great offensively. I just think that the Lakers have what they need. Although they don't have Avery Bradley to guard Damian Lillard, they still have LeBron playing point guard. They can use Kyle Kuzma in some situations. You don't want to use him in every situation because he is young, but they also do have Dion Waiters, who is a very capable perimeter defender. He's not Avery Bradley, but he is a very capable perimeter defender that you can just put on Damian Lillard and make sure you limit him big. You're not going to shut down Damian Lillard, but you can find ways to limit him. And I think with the pieces the Lakers have, I don't think they would limit him as much as Avery Bradley would do, but I do think they have some capability of limiting Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers do not play defense. Yes, they have Nurkic and Whiteside, but they were not even able to guard Jarrett Allen. They let him get some good stuff in. Jusuf Nurkic did horrible guarding Jarrett Allen. If you can't guard Jarrett Allen, who doesn't scratch the surface of what Anthony Davis is, how are you going to guard Anthony Davis? And Hassan Whiteside is even a little banged up, so I'm kind of worried about him and the matchups. But the Lakers also have 2 bigs in JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. They're going to be a problem in the paint and this is a team that can play defense, adding them to that. The Lakers can play defense. They're very good on offense. The Trailblazers are very good on offense, but they don't play defense. You say defense wins championships, so for the people that think the Trailblazers are going to even go to the finals or beat the Lakers, how do defense wins championships, and you're picking the Trailblazers to get past this? Now let's move on to the Clippers versus Mavericks. I think the Lakers' important series is going to be well fought, but I do think that the Lakers will outlast them. But now let's get to this next one. Clippers versus Magic. I think the Clippers, this is going to be a relatively easy series for them. I think they sweep the Mavs 4-0. The Clippers, they'll just take this one easy, and the Mavs don't really know how to finish out games. If you saw the game versus Houston in the bubble, one of their first bubble games, they were up by a good margin of points, and Houston came back with good defense and good offense. They can't win, they can't finish off games versus good teams, and that's something you see from them. Can they finish off games versus good teams? The Clippers are a top 3 best team in the NBA. So if they can't defeat the Rockets in the last seconds of the game, why do you think they can beat the Clippers? The Clippers are going to sweep them 4-0. The Clippers are too overpowered offensively and defensively. They got Kawhi, they got Paul George, they'll have Montrezl Harrell back. They'll have their full squad right now. Who knows what's going to go on with chemistry throughout these playoffs for the Clippers, but I do think they win the series easily. They're too young. Yes, they have Luka and Porzingis, who are some of the best duos in the NBA, but they don't have enough. They're too young. They don't know how to win yet. They don't know how to finish off games. They will be there very soon, but not this year. I'm not giving it to them this year. Luka is great. He can lead a team, but there's still some defensive questions, and the Mavs just don't play defense. I think the Clippers will get an easy warm-up here by sweeping the Mavericks. Now let's get to the next one, and this is an intriguing one for me too, because these teams match up kind of well, and that's the Nuggets and the Jazz. I got the Nuggets winning this series 4-2. Now, at first I picked the Jazz. I don't know why, because they don't even have Bogey, but they don't have Bogey, and that's a huge factor. You can't replace the guy that scored 20 points per game. They don't have that guy. They don't have that guy that'll score 20 points per game. You don't just find them in spare. 20 points per game. 40% three-point shooting. A very, very clutch guy. A 3-and-D defender. They are going to miss him greatly. Their stats plummet. Three-point shooting, defense. They're going to miss Bogey, and especially versus a team like the Nuggets, where they have depth and many guys at Bogey's position that will take you down. They have great offensive threats and great shooters. Michael Porter Jr., Will Barton. Let's not forget about Jokic, but although you have Jokic as a problem, the Nuggets have depth and many other problems that you have to deal with, while the Jazz have a problem in not having Bogdanovic. The Jazz are going to win 2 games because the Nuggets are young. They don't really know how to win yet, even though they did make the second round. They're just too young. But I'll have the Jazz take 2 games in this series. They'll push it to 6 games. But if they had Bogey, maybe I'd be choosing them this series. We'll see what Donovan Mitchell can do, if he can make those clutch shots and really just lead his team. And if he shows us he's a very, very good leader, Donovan Mitchell, he'll be seen in the eyes of many as like, hey, this is officially a superstar. I think he's a superstar in my mind, but in many, he'll be a superstar. But the Nuggets are too explosive. They're too well-rounded. They're too quick. They're too fast to not lose to the Jazz. The Jazz can't beat the Nuggets right now. The Nuggets have too many problems. They present too many problems for the Jazz, and the Jazz have enough problems alone with themselves not having Bogey. Bogey fixes a lot of their problems, and with missing him, it creates a lot of problems. So they won't win this series. They'll fall 4-2. The Nuggets will win this series 4-2. But now let's go to OKC versus Houston. This is also a series that you will really want to watch, really want to see what's happening, because Russell Westbrook is out for the first couple games. Yes, the OKC might win the first 2 games, or they might win 1 game, but this team still has James Harden. To me, James Harden is a very good leader. He can be very capable in the playoffs. With his scoring, he is able to get to massive places. With the ways he creates shots, the ways he creates foul shots, he's going to be able to lead this team without Russell Westbrook the first couple games. To me, the Rockets win this series in a 7-game series 4-3. It'll be a very close series. I think the Rockets push it to game 7 in a very hard-fought series without having Russell Westbrook in the first few games, not having him to really just push himself into the paint and just creating space for other shooters to knock down shots. But I do think Houston wins this series. Yes, they don't play defense most of the time, but in the fourth quarter and crunch time, they show up. They always wait till the last minute to show up. And I know you're like, what is he talking about? The Rockets do not play defense. Well, yes, they do. There's stats to show that. They play clutch defense, and I think they can get stops down the stretch. Also with their great offense and three-point shooting. Guys, here's the stats, though. The Rockets rank second in defensive rating in crunch time, and they rank fourth in defensive rating in crunch time, and second in net rating in fourth in net rating and second in defensive rating. I think the Rockets can get stops, and on top of that, I think they can play. They have great offensive ability. They're explosive, and they can create plays, and they got a lot of playmakers and shooters. But OKC, they got Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, who I think should be Sixth Man of the Year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got Nerlens Noel, Steven Adams, Gallinari. I don't think they have enough to overcome Houston in a 7-game series because I think Houston is explosive to be able to get up even with Russell Westbrook being out and him coming back into the series. I think it'll be a 7-game series, but the Rockets are the Rockets. Let's still got James Harden. I think it'll be a very hard-fought series, but I think that the Rockets are too explosive for the Thunder, and I think that if I'm choosing anyone to close out a series, it's the Rockets, who've proven that they can close out a game defensively, and they're very good offensively. Guys, tell me what you think your picks and predictions are for the Western Conference. Let's go over mine. Let's recap this. I think the Lakers will win versus the Blazers in the series 4-2. I think the Clippers win versus the Mavericks relatively easy 4-0. I think the Nuggets beat out the Jazz in the series 4-2. And I think the Rockets win over OKC 4-3 in a 7-game series. I think all of these playoff matchups will be intriguing except Clippers versus Mavs, because that's not going to be a competitive series in my opinion. But tell me what you think about my picks and predictions. And tell me what your picks and predictions are down in the comment section below. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Go make sure to watch the Eastern Conference playoff first round picks and predictions. This is the Ranker of the Ultimate Sports TV, aka Malik Hicks, signing off. Have a great day and a good night.